Yeah. Always. Appreciate it, sir. Appreciate you. Great. We about 6 weeks out. Right where I need to be, baby. And we getting that bitch this year.
Number 5 on deck. Look, I like what I see. Before we get into this Jimmy Draymond workout and being in the lab, listen, I'm the first to admit I wanted nothing to do with Jimmy Butler when the rumors picked up at the deadline. And my train of thought was like, hey, we've seen this before from Jimmy in different destinations. He's older, durability issues, the Heat, one of the better well-run organizations in the NBA. If they want to get rid of him and they're having this issue, it's probably for a reason, right? It's not like he's beefing with the Charlotte Hornets or something like that. But I think it's a good lesson as a fan because we all know the ins and outs of our team, right? The day-to-day, all the details of what's really happening. But when you try to pass judgment on a player that you watch casually, that you're not up to the day-to-day stuff of what's going on, I think you have to pay attention to that fan base. And that's going to give you a better context of what may actually be happening. Because the Heat fan base, a lot of them rode with Jimmy, and they're still going to ride with Jimmy in this Pat Riley beef and what was going on. And that, and in hindsight, that should have been more telling in my judgment of Jimmy. But he comes over at the deadline, and I cannot be more impressed with him as a basketball player, especially me being in my Unk era of still trying to get out there and hoop a little bit. I can really appreciate the deception and the craft, the angles that he plays with. Like, he is such a basketball player, and he's still a very good athlete, very strong, right? But he does it as a basketball player. He knows all the little tricks of the trade. And because of that, listen, if he can stay healthy, his game is going to hold up throughout this contract and even more if he chooses to be, if he's healthy, because he's playing basketball. He's not relying on athleticism. He's relying on his mind, his angles, and his skill. Structure creates clarity. Clarity creates consistency, and consistency breeds success. And you can take that into any part of your life, right? But what I'm talking about with you today is your meal planning and your nutrition. And that's where Factor can help so many of you. It's fresh, never frozen food delivered directly to your doorstep, all dietitian approved, created by a team of gourmet chefs using ingredients of integrity. You've got over 35 different meals to choose from weekly. We're talking Smart Cal, Chef's Choice, Protein Plus. There's something for everyone. 60 add-ons, breakfast, juice, snacks. That consistency, that structure, the last few years has helped me meet my nutritional goals. So head to factor75.com or click the link below and use the code AlchemyFB50 for 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's factor75.com, AlchemyFB50 for 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. Now, the Jimmy Draymond connection and why that is intriguing to see them in the lab together. Look, if you saw this footage of Draymond in the lab with KD, I'm not sure all that would do is just kind of like hurt his confidence as a shooter. It's like you're in there going shot for shot with KD, and it's just like, hey, I am who I am, right? Like there's levels to this shit, right? But with Jimmy, I think it's different because of the craft, because of the angles and the way that he scores the ball. I think that Draymond can actually pick up on some of this and utilize it in his game, particularly in the in-between game, from the nail to the short corner, where those shots, again, KD need not apply. Dirk Nowitzki, like these unicorn players, it's just different, right? How much can you emulate of that? But Jimmy, it's angles, it's deception, it's patience. And I think that's something that Draymond can use. Like those in-between shots, you've got to learn what type of touch you want to use, what type of angle, and when and where you can play the glass. And I think that you can see that. And what I loved also in the footage was you saw Jimmy come off to the spot and he went into the little 1-footer, and then Draymond shot something different. It's very important, I think, in training to understand like what's for you and what's not. But I think that he can learn some patience and some deception from Jimmy in these kind of no man land spots, these in-between spots that Jimmy operates in so well, right? And what I would really like to see as far as a new wrinkle in the offense would be, could he learn a little face-up triple threat move? Like Jimmy's signature move is that shimmy, right? Where he's right there, he's in the mid block and he gives you that shimmy and takes the baseline. And it's just, it looks simple, but you get out on the court, try to emulate it. Like there's such a nuanced layers to how smooth and the timing of it. So it's never going to look like that, but I'd love to see Draymond with a little face-up triple threat move and make it work for him in his game, right? And the wrinkle that I'm talking about would be specifically out of the split actions. You know, we've seen the split action now going on like 15 years with this team, and we all know what it looks like. They pass it to the post player, and then you've got two shooters, you know, splitting off screens and cuts. And for the most part, our post guy with the post, he's just waiting for the pass, right? He's not really a threat. And I think that the new wrinkle I would love to see would be the post catch be a threat. If the split cuts don't work or you like the matchup, face up, hit him with the Jimmy shimmy and go baseline. And I think that it's something that Draymond could implement into his game. Maybe a drop step when he gets a switch in a mismatch. But the mechanical limitations on Draymond's three, backpack Draymond and not getting that full extension in the torso, there's limitations in his range and consistency from three. And he's gotten better with it, right? But those limitations aren't really there foul line and under. Because of the trajectory, you don't need as much arc, right? You can shoot it more with your legs like Jimmy does. And Draymond's shown touch. Like he's got a floater, right? And he's plenty physical. He's got, I think that, you know, as much flack as I give Draymond, and we like to give Draymond for some of his offensive liabilities, the reality is his game was molded and developed with Steph and Clay. And so if he had never played with them, he's fully capable of being more of a scorer is what I'm getting at here. And I'm intrigued to see him learning some of the dark arts that Jimmy has, like, you know, foul line in below. As far as Jimmy goes, he obviously understands he's got to shoot more threes at this stage in his career and on this team, right? And he shoots. First of all, let's just talk about his jump shot. His jump shot, you know, we talk about Steph, it's the flick of the wrist. Look at the flick of the wrist, right? Clay's shot, it's more elbow, right? It's more of an elbow shot. Jimmy's shot is all legs. And that's why he flourishes in the mid-range and isn't as comfortable stepping out to the three-point line. Now, he shoots the corner three like a free throw, right? It's like a set shot when he's posted there, and as flat as it comes out, it's all right. He's comfortable taking it and he can make it. But as far as adding to that and becoming more prolific as a three-point shooter in different ways, different variants, what you see is off the bounce, he likes that big side step, right? He'll bump, and he'll take a long side step. And what he's doing is he's trying to engage his legs. Because he's so much of a leg shooter, he uses so much leg in his shot that side step lets him get into the dip and then you know, use his legs into that elevation. So he has that shot, but that's a very specific shot and kind of off the bounce. They're not necessarily good shots, right? Shots you want, they're bailout threes. My question for Jimmy is, can he add a third club to the bag? Can he add a third variation of his three-point shot? He's got the set free throw corner one, fine. He's got the bailout off the bounce side step. What about one where he is just standing on the wing on the weak side and he's flat-footed, right? Can he either add a foot replace where he kind of hops? And I think the trick is you don't hop up, you drop. You drop the hips on the catch, and then that engages the legs to go up. Or a simple 1-2 step where you kind of hang a couple feet back off the line, so when the pass comes, you can step into it and get into your legs. And so that's what I'm curious to see at this age, if Jimmy can add another variant to the three-point shot, because, you know, space in the floor, both of them, we need both of them to take it. And, you know, look, it's intriguing because I'll say this. I'm teasing about the KD thing and how much you're really going to learn from being in a gym with him. But I also think that it's dope to see these two in the gym, because two players of this ilk at this stage in their career, right? We're talking 12, 15-year veterans, you know, the twilight, let's be honest, right? For them to link up and really train in the summer and build some chemistry and learn from each other, you don't see that often. Again, from guys this age, You know Moses is going to come in, younger guys, or you see like Jalen Green and you know, his new Suns teammates. But for Jimmy and Draymond to be in the lab at this stage right now is impressive and encouraging. And I think that they can both learn from each other. Well, I don't know what Jimmy's going to learn from Draymond. No, but I think it's dope. And I think it's really good sign moving forward. The other thing that I would say is, look, I know we get on these players about the summer workout videos. It's like, yeah, who cares? Empty gym. Like, all right, that's doing what you should be doing, right? But we're all thirsty for the season to start and seeing basketball, seeing these players, right? What I would like to see is a little update on Quentin Post. Specifically, I wonder what he's doing in the weight room. Deadlifts, right? Sled pushes. You know, I would hope a lot of compound lifts, like, you know, absolute strength type of lifts to build his base. Because if QP can get stronger, if he can have a big off season of gains physically, I think he's set to have a breakout year, man. I really do. And I think that he's such a key part of this Jimmy Draymond connection. That's why, obviously, Al Horford, and we'll talk about that when the time comes. But QP, if he can get stronger, I think he's going to have a really good, because he has everything else. Toughness, confidence, IQ, quick feet for his size. It was just his base and his center of gravity. His strength was lacking, you know? And what is he, 24, 25? That's, I think, the concerning thing is, it'd be one thing if he was like a 19-year-old rookie who had only played 1 year of college basketball. He had played so much college basketball, you'd assume he'd been in the weight room already. So I don't know how much gains he can get in one summer. I don't think he's going to get beginner gains per se, but I'm very curious to see if Quentin Post shows up stronger with a stronger base, because then he would be kind of my pick for breakout season out of the young Warriors. But yeah, man, Jimmy, Draymond in the lab, you love to see it. And I do think that they can learn from each other. I think that this is a good sign. I've got a big video coming up on the W and just getting y'all prepped for this playoff. The W is lit, y'all. That's going to be the title of the video. And I'm just going to go over my overall thoughts on this season, because I'm super into it. It's easy to follow because there's only like 10 teams, so I know all the teams. I know every storyline that's going on, and of course we'll talk about the Valkyrie, one of the better stories in the W this season. But just a video prepping you for why you should watch these playoffs and why it is a very fun league to watch and why I'm so into it. So that's going to be coming. Still got to talk Steve Kerr, and then I also have a video coming on Moses Moody, a real coach type video on his mechanics and something I'd like to see with him, because I've seen some video of him in the lab and what I would advise him on doing with the shot. Anyway, y'all enjoy this Labor Day extended weekend. And as always, hit that like, share, and subscribe. I'm out, y'all.